At one point, this running back and kick returner, all-purpose player was one of the best, if not a top 10 player in the NFC East, battling against the Cowboys, the Redskins, the Giants, and Eagles for divisional supremacy. But when he left the St. Louis Cardinals to join the Toronto Argonauts in CFL, it was a head scratcher, and we still don't know exactly why. Either it was a contract dispute or something dealing with he was unhappy. It's still years later, we're trying to figure it out exactly what it meant for the NFC East and for the CFL. Now, today we're talking about, I think, one of the most underrated players of the 1970s, the great Terry Metcalf. Now, born in Seattle, Terrence Randolph Metcalf, September 24th, 51, played for 6 seasons in the NFL, 5 of them with the Cardinals and 1 for the Redskins. Again, he also played 3 big seasons in the CFL with the Toronto Argonauts, not the Joe Theismann Argonauts, but the Mad Bomber Argonauts, when they were getting Clint Longley and other quarterbacks to run the team. Now, born and raised in Seattle, he played college football at Cal State College, Long Beach, in Southern California. Of course, his son, the wide receiver and kick returner Eric Metcalf, is keeping on the legacy. Now, he finished his NFL career with 3,489 rushing yards, 245 receptions for 2,457 yards, 336 punt return yards, and 3,087 yards returning kickoffs. He also scored 36 touchdowns, 24 rushing, 9 receiving, 1 punt return, and 2 kickoff returns. He holds the record for most games with 250 plus all-purpose yards, with 7. Now, in the 14-game 75 season, Metcalf was at the height of his powers. He set a then NFL record for combined yards with 2,462. This feat has since been eclipsed during the 16-game era, instituted in 78, when Lionel James of the Padres became the first to do so in 85. Now, James's head coach was Don Coryell, who also coached Metcalf during his record-breaking season. So you see the comparison. He also became the first player in NFL history to average at least 30 yards per kick return and 10 yards per punt return in the same season. Joshua Cribbs of the Cleveland Browns became the second in 2007. Now, in 78, Metcalf signed with the Toronto Argonauts. He played 3 seasons in the CFL. Now, in his grade 78 season, he rushed 169 times for 669 yards and caught 31 passes. In 79, as a division all-star, he carried the ball 141 times for 691 yards and caught 55 passes. In his final year in 1980, he rushed for 540 yards and caught 51 passes. Now, I'm not saying it was a media embargo, but he wasn't talking to the media much back then, so we really didn't know the whole story of why the jump. Usually what happened back in the day, CFL players would leave the CFL to play in the NFL. You look at Mervyn Fernandez, Warren Moon, Theismann, a whole bunch of key players through the years. Now, Metcalf finished his career in the NFL with the Redskins in 81. He was eventually inducted into the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame in 2018 and the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame in 2020. Now, Metcalf did coach at Renton High School in Renton, Washington until 2008. Now, looking at his rough stats, quite interesting from an NFL standpoint. We'll go over this very quickly. The 1973, he had 628 yards, 718 yards rushing in 74, 816 in 75. Again, those 2 seasons was all pro. 537 yards and 739 yards. 9 touchdowns, running and two receiving in that campaign. Now, the Washington season only included 2 games started, 18 rushing attempts, 60 yards, and he caught 48 passes for 595. So the 81 Redskin teams was quite good. Now, the idea with Terry Metcalf, again, a multi-purpose player, and he also would pass on occasion. He went 4 for 10 in what he called the running back or a slot back option. Now, getting back to his CFL numbers, 1,914 rushing yards, a 4.3 average with 15 touchdowns. Now, he was second team All Pro in 75, a three-time Pro Bowler in 74, 75, and 77. And of course, he was the first team Little All American in 1971. But like I said, a speedy back, very, very dynamite, and one of the best third round picks. Not say a late pick, but 63rd overall. His game was so strong. In those Cardinal seasons, again, they were contenders every year. That was the last time the NFC East for the Redskins they were contenders for the division, because you had Dallas. Dallas was strong, but these were the Jim Hart years, and I've already done something on the great talent of Jim Hart, who I think shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, but that's just me. But not the tallest drink of water, only 5'10", a solid 185. And like I said, the Don Whitman said a very interesting comment about this. He said, Terry Metcalf in the CFL is not the Terry Metcalf of the NFL, because he was a bigger star in the NFL in the States, because as a lot of people know and maybe don't know, the NFC East were sort of like the Sunday afternoon game for most of Canada, in French Canada and Quebec and Acadie, like in French translation. So it was a very interesting thing when he came over. Like I said, it was a big deal. This was like Joe Theismann leaving, and this is somebody with a running back that was very. I think he was considered a top 10 running back for most of those seasons. That came back and restarted his career. Maybe just need a reset. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the story of the great Terry Metcalf. I still think one of the most underrated players in NFC East history. It was so funny because the Montreal Alouettes were such a grinding team, like what they call the CFL East. Ironically, went from the NFC East to the CFL East. But those games between the Argos and Montreal, and the Argos and Hamilton, boys, those were a grind, were tough games. As we say, you play hockey in the corners, and this how it works a Canadian game, as you already know, second down was key. So somebody like Metcalf was called on a lot of times to get a first down or to make a return after the opposing team couldn't get the first down. So it was quite, like I said, it was quite interesting. And to hear a Quebec announcer pronounce Don Coryell is has to be heard to be believed. Because my name is Courrier, and they were pronouncing not Coryell, but Coryell, like close to my name. First time I heard him pronounce it, I said, well, is Don Coryell now a Courrier? Because that's how we spell it, they pronounce it in Quebec and Acadie. So Courrier, not Coryell, and Coryell, not Courrier. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, and Eric Metcalf, I appreciate him as an athlete too. What a talent he was as well. Genes for speed run fast in that family, as we say. Thanks for listening. Bye.